All right, so continuing our discussion of parallel lines and perpendicular lines, we are going to talk about slope and the equations of lines today. Do you guys remember slope-intercept form? That's the new one that was passed out yesterday. Do you guys remember from Algebra 1, slope-intercept form for a line? Starts off with y equals. There we go. Y equals mx plus b. Does that look familiar? Yes. B is the y-intercept. And m is the slope. Homework's due tomorrow. Homework's due tomorrow. B is the y-intercept, m is the slope. Thank you. The formula for slope finish the test, sorry. Formula to find the slope when you've been given 2 points is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. y2 minus y1 gives us our rise. And x2 minus x1 gives us our run. Now this other form of a line, this is another way to write the equation of a line. I'm not sure if you guys saw this one in Algebra 1 or not. It's called point slope form. This is y minus y1 equals m, and then parentheses, x minus x1. It's called point slope form because my slope is right here. And the x1, y1 comes from a given point. Parallel lines have the same slope. So same m, but a different y-intercept, different b. Parallel lines have the same slope, but a different y-intercept. And remember, parallel lines, the symbol that we have for that is 2 vertical lines side by side. That's what means parallel. Guys, headphones need to be off. Music needs to be turned off. Headphones and music need to be off. Headphones off, music off, please. All headphones need to be off. Take your headphones off. Thank you. Perpendicular lines, the slopes are opposite signs All right, thank you. Slopes are opposite signs and reciprocals. Reciprocals mean that you flip the fraction. for perpendicular lines, the slopes multiply to -1. And the symbol that we have for perpendicular, remember, is an upside down capital T. That's what means perpendicular. Hmm?
You said the under T is what?
That upside down capital T right here means perpendicular. That's the symbol for perpendicular. All right. Let's see if we can try a couple of problems. Give just a moment so that everybody can have a chance to finish getting this copied into their notes, and then we're going to look at problem number 1. Yes. Yes, we'll do that during your lunch study time today. Yep.
Miss Bo?
Yes.
So, like, for the last test that we took, how am I supposed to study to retake if I already gave you my study? If I already gave you my study guide?
I can give it back to you to study with, and then you can turn it back in to me when you do the retake, or you can grab another copy of the test review and you can recomplete that to study.
No, can I have my one copy?
Yes. I will say that a better way to study is by redoing the problems, but I'm fine if I give you that one back. All right, let's look at number 1. Consider the points A, -2, 8, and B, -6, -10. Give the slope of the line that passes through the points. So slope would be M. So our formula for this was M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So one of our points needs to be 0.1. The other point needs to be 0.2. So I'm going to let A be my 0.1. So that means -2 would be my x1 and 8 would be my y1. And my point B is going to be 0.2. So -6 would be my x2 and -10 would be my y2. So then we take those numbers and we substitute them into our equation. So y2 I'm going to replace with -10, and then I'm going to bring my minus sign over. y1 is 8. Over, what goes in for x2? -6. Bring the subtraction sign over. What goes in for x1? -2. Keep in mind, the minus sign that I wrote in blue is part of the formula. But then x1 is a negative number. What happens when you subtract a negative number like this? Becomes positive. So this right here is really -6 plus 2. All right, let's simplify our numerator. What is -10 minus 8? -18. Over, we said this simplifies to be -6 plus 2. What is -6 plus 2? -4. I have a negative in my numerator and a negative in my denominator. What happens? Becomes a positive. So this would be a positive 18 over 4. We are not going to put this in our calculators. We do not want decimals for slope. We want either whole numbers or fractions. If I take 18 and divide it by 4, will I get a whole number? No. So I have to try to reduce this down. Can you think of anything that will go into both 18 and 4? 2. 2 goes into both 18 and 4. What is 18 divided by 2? 9. What is 4 divided by 2? 2. So 9 over 2 is the slope of the line between those 2 points. For the line that is parallel to AB, this is going to be the same slope. So my parallel line has a slope of 9 over 2, exactly the same as the slope that I just found. For perpendicular, the slope is opposite sign and reciprocal. Remember, reciprocal just means to flip the fraction. Is 9 over 2 positive or negative? Is 9 over 2 positive or negative? Positive. So when I say opposite sign for the perpendicular slope, will this be positive or negative? Negative. Opposite sign means this one becomes a negative because the other one is positive. And then I want to flip the fraction over, so instead of 9 over 2, I would have what? Yes, this is going to be negative 2 over 9. Negative 2 over 9. All right. You guys ready to try another one like this? Okay. I would like for you guys to do number 2. I'm going to give about 3 minutes for you guys to do number 2. It's just like number 1, but with different numbers. So take about 3 minutes to work through this one, and then we will go through it together. Okay. You said you're all done, right? Okay, just wanted to make sure. Just like number 1, different numbers for the points, but the process is still the same. Find the slope first, using m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Then I need you to get your notes out, please. Pull out your orange packet for me, please.
I feel like I'm so sleepy.
Mm-hmm.
For the number at the bottom that I got, do I have to turn that into a positive?
So if you divide this, will you get a whole number? No. Are you sure? No. Yep. If you get a whole number, then you can divide it. If it comes out to something that's not a whole number, then you need to leave it in fraction form. In just a moment. Yes. Yes, simplify that one more step. All right, a little bit less than a minute, and we're going to go through this one. We're on page 8. All right. So we have m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Pick out one of the points to be point 1. That would be our x1, y1. I'm going to let P be my x1, y1, but if you flip it around and do it the other way, you're going to get the same answer. It does not matter which point you call point 1 and which point you call point 2. So then we substitute in y2 is 2 minus y1, which is negative 3, over x2, which is 5, minus x1, which is 6. What happens in the numerator right here? Turns into addition. So this becomes 2 plus 3. What is 5 minus 6? Negative 1. So I have 5 over negative 1. When I get to this step right here, if I divide them and I get a decimal, I have to leave it in fraction form and reduce it like on the previous problem. If I divide these two numbers, do I get a fraction? No. What do you get when you take 5 divided by negative 1? We get negative 5. So negative 5 is my slope. So what is the slope for the parallel line? What is the slope for the parallel line? Negative 5. Whatever the slope is that you found for the original 2 points, parallel lines have the same slope. Parallel lines have the same slope. Perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slope. So opposite sign, and we flip the fraction. So the only problem is that's not a fraction, is it? But what I got it from is a fraction. This is what I'm going to take and flip over to get my perpendicular slope. Opposite sign means my perpendicular slope will be positive or negative. Positive, because it has to have the opposite sign. This has a negative sign in it, so this one will not have a negative sign. And then the reciprocal, I flip the fraction over. So instead of 5 over negative 1, what would I have down here? 1 over 5. Positive 1 over 5. Perfect. All right. Nice work. Let's flip the page. Let's flip the page over. All right, number 3. Find the equation in slope-intercept form. What just happened? No, I don't want to do anything different there. There we go. I don't know what happened. Slope-intercept form. What is slope-intercept form again? Yes, y equals mx plus b. So my answer needs to look like this. This is what my answer should look like, with numbers plugged in for m and for b. We want to find the equation of the line that is parallel. Tell me about the slope of parallel lines. Same slope. Same slope. We want it to be parallel to this line right here. Which number in this equation is the slope? Yes, negative 5 over 2 is the slope. Which means I don't care about that plus 5 on the end at all. Don't care. I want this. And I want it to go through the point negative 8, 3. So we have to use point slope form because we have the slope and they gave us a point. Y minus y1 equals m, and then parentheses, x minus x1. We know what we want the slope to be. What was the slope of our other line? What was the slope of this line back here? Negative 5 over 2. So in the place of the m, we're going to put in negative 5 over 2 so that my slope stays the same. The things that are in here as just x and just y, those stay x and y. So this stays x minus, this stays y minus. In the place of the x1, y1, that's where we put our point. Negative 8 would be my x1, and 3 would be my y1. So 3 goes in the place of y1. In the place of x1, we're going to put negative 8. Notice, this minus sign came from my formula right here. This negative sign came from x1. What happens when we subtract a negative like that? Becomes a positive. So y minus 3 equals negative 5 over 2, and then in parentheses, this becomes x plus 8. I want my answer to look like this. Are there any parentheses in slope-intercept form? No. Then the first thing I'm going to need to do is get rid of the parentheses. How do I do that? Distribute. We're going to take negative 5 over 2 and distribute it inside the parentheses. So I would have y minus 3 equals negative 5 over 2 times x is just negative 5 over 2x. But then I need to take the negative 5 over 2 and multiply it by the 8. You might need to grab a calculator for this. Cell phone calculator would be fine. You do not have to have a fraction key to do the negative 5 over 2. When you see a fraction, what operation is happening? Division. So you could put negative 5 divided by 2 times 8. Negative 20, yes. All right, so I have y minus 3 equals negative 5 over 2x minus 20. Does it look just like this yet? No. What would need to change so that it has this form? Yeah, we need to move that 3. How can I move the 3? Add it. We're going to add 3 to both sides. So that would give me y equals negative 5 over 2x. And then what is negative 20 plus 3? Negative 17. Negative 5 over 2x minus 17. Notice it has the same slope, negative 5 over 2, negative 5 over 2, but we have a different y-intercept. This y-intercept was a positive 5. This y-intercept is a negative 17. All right, so far so good? Yes. What happened to the 8? We multiplied these two things together. When you multiply this and this, it gives you negative 20. Yep. Any questions so far? Thank you, Siri. All right. Number 4 is similar to this one, but there's one important word that's different. What is the word that is different on number 4? Perpendicular. Does perpendicular have the same slope? No. Tell me about the slope for perpendicular lines. Yep. They multiply to negative 1. They are opposite signs, and reciprocals. What does reciprocal mean again? Flipped. We flip the fraction. So looking at this equation, which piece is the slope? Which piece of this equation is the slope?
That part.
Which part? Not quite. What is the slope? Negative 5 over 2. This is the slope. So if I want the perpendicular slope, would it be a positive number or a negative number for my perpendicular slope? Positive, because it has opposite signs. This one's a negative. So my perpendicular slope is going to be a positive. They're always opposite signs. And then we take the fraction and we flip it over. What do I get if I flip that fraction over? 2 over 5. This is what we're going to use to find our equation. And just like before, I want my answer in slope-intercept form. So my answer needs to be in the form of y equals mx plus b. So we're going to use point slope form again. Y minus y1 equals m, and then parentheses, x minus x1. In the place of m, we're going to put our perpendicular slope, 2 over 5. And then the point that they gave us is this guy right here, negative 15, negative 8. So negative 15 is my x1, negative 8 is my y1. So I would have y minus, and then put negative 8 in the place of y1, equals 2 over 5, parentheses, x minus, in the place of x1, I put negative 15. On both sides of the equal sign, we are subtracting a negative. So what happens there? Addition. So this would become y plus 8 equals 2 over 5, parentheses, x plus 15. Does this look like this? Because I want my answer to look like this. Sort of, kinda. What does this have that this one doesn't? Parentheses. It's got parentheses in it. That's not the only thing, but it does have parentheses. I don't want the parentheses. Up here, there are no parentheses. I don't want my answer to have parentheses in it. How can I get rid of those parentheses? Distribute. We're going to take 2 over 5 and distribute that inside our parentheses here. So I would have y plus 8 equals 2 over 5 times x would give me what? Yep, 2 over 5x. And what is 2 over 5 times 15? 6. So 2 over 5x plus 6. Now does this look like this? No. What else needs to change? Subtract the 8 from both sides. Slope-intercept form has the y all by itself. And so we want to get our y all by itself. So y equals 2 over 5x. And then what is 6 minus 8? -2. So there's my equation of the line that is perpendicular. First thing we do is figure out the slope that we're going to use. If it's parallel, we just grab the same slope. If it's perpendicular, we flip it and give it the opposite sign. Then we write down point slope form. We substitute in our slope. We put in the x and the y from our point in for x1, y1. We clean it up if we need to with negative, negative. Then we get rid of our parentheses. We get rid of the parentheses first. We distribute. And then finally, we will either add or subtract to get y all by itself. We have one final problem to look at, number 5, down at the bottom. It says, given the line y equals -3/4 x minus 7. Graph the line that is parallel to the given line and passes through the point -6, 5. Now graph the line that is perpendicular to the original given line and passes through the point -2, -7. First thing we are going to do is graph this original line. Is this in slope-intercept form? Yes. What is the first thing that you plot on a graph when you've been given slope-intercept form? The y-intercept. Which number up there is the y-intercept? -7. This right here is my y-intercept. So when I go to plot it on the graph, where do I put that at? Yep, we put that on the y-axis. So the up and down axis is my y-axis. We're going to find -7 on the y-axis down here. And we're going to plot our first point. After I plot that first point, I'm going to use my slope to get more points. And I can always use the slope to get more points, even if that first point is not my y-intercept. The slope helps me figure out how to move to find the next point. Slope is rise over run. This is a negative fraction. When you have a negative fraction, we always put the negative sign with our numerator. This is our rise. If I am rising -3, am I going up or down? Down. The denominator, the 4, is my run. And when we use our slope to find points, we always run to the right. So from here, from this y-intercept of -7, I'm going to go down 3 and right 4. So down 1, 2, 3. And right 4. To get my next point. And I would keep going, but I got to the edge of my graph. Can I get more points? Because this isn't really enough to graph my line. How do I get more points if I can't keep going? Yep, do everything in reverse. Do everything backwards. So instead of down 3, we're going to go up 3. Instead of right 4, we're going to go left 4. So up 3 and left 4. Now we have 4 points plotted. And that's going to be enough that I can grab my straight edge now and graph a line through those points. This is my original given line. All right. Now we're going to do the parallel line. Tell me about the slope for a parallel line. Same slope. What was the slope for my original line? Yep, so this is going to be -3/4 also for my slope. First thing we're going to do is plot the point that they gave us. That point is -6,5. So I'm going to go plot -6,5 on my graph right here. Then we will use the parallel slope of -3/4 to plot more points. So from this point that I plotted right here at -6,5, it doesn't matter that that's not the y-intercept. I'm still going to do exactly what I did down here. I'm going to go down 3 and right 4. So from here, we're going to go down 3 and to the right 4. And we're going to plot our next point. And then we're going to do it again. Down 3 and right 4. Down 3 and right 4. Down 3 and right 4. Can I go backwards at all and get any more points? Yeah. From this top point, I can go up 3 and left 4. I can do everything in reverse and get one more point on there. And then I can grab my straight edge and I can draw through those points. This is our parallel line. Perpendicular line. Tell me about the slope for perpendicular lines. Opposite and reciprocal. Opposite, reciprocal slope. So what will my perpendicular slope be then? 4/3. Positive 4/3. Because we were -3/4. So we changed to a positive because we always change our sign. And we flip the fraction over. First thing we're going to do is plot the point that they gave us, which was -2, -7. -2, -7 is right here. And then we will use our perpendicular slope of 4/3 to plot more points. So we're going to go up 4 and right 3. So from that point that we plotted, up 4 and right 3. Plot our point. And then again, up 4 and right 3. Up 4 and right 3. Up 4 and right 3. Can I go backwards at all? No, I don't have enough room on my graph to go backwards. I do have enough points to draw my line using my straight edge through those points. This is my perpendicular line. Your parallel lines, your original given line and the line that is parallel, these should look like railroad tracks. The perpendicular line should be making right angles with your two parallel lines. Nicely done. All right. The homework over this is due tomorrow. The homework that you picked up at the beginning of class yesterday is due tomorrow. If you need another copy or you weren't here yesterday or you just have simply misplaced yours, very bottom paper in that red organizer is the new homework. And that homework is due tomorrow.